Welcome back to Making a Major. This is part 6 of the Post-Mortem for Outland Empire USPSA Level 2. Okay, hopping right back into it. Let's talk about Stage 2. So on Stage 2, we got this tuxedo visible through these ports, and that's the only place you can see this tuxedo. I'm going to roll my match footage so you can kind of see my head cam, what that looked like. You can also see that there were a few more barrels that we added here. And that's because there were a lot more sight lines than it made this kind of look like. We didn't want the tuxedo visible from here, so we had to stack some barrels. Like, we just kind of did this, and then we had to stack another stack, and then we had to stack another thing. And it just kind of became a thing, right? One of the things that you'll see in the video here is that this tuxedo isn't as open as it looks like here, right? So when we first set it up, you pretty much had to be like right here. I can't make it line up perfectly, but well, that's odd. Okay, weird. Anyways, so we had the tuxedo was in such a place that you basically had to be right next to the wall to get a clean A-zone. This wall right here, I didn't like that. So one of the things that we did was we actually opened up this port. It had some brackets down here and some brackets up here, and we actually just opened up the port just a little bit, so that because the stand was staked down, we didn't, and the stand was right into the berm like this, and we'd already dealt with viewing it from this position. We'd put in a wall here and a barrel stack so you couldn't see it from here. So we didn't want to move the target. We wanted to make the shot easier, so we actually opened up this wall just a little bit to make that shot easier. That was one of those things that we just discovered during our proofing. We're like, ah, crap, we have to change this just a little bit. Another thing, this box, that line was not set up like this during the match. It actually came to here. There was a pivot point here, and then it went, we actually had two barrels, kind of like this, and it went between the barrels to a post sitting right here. We'd had a few problems with that, the springs on this being strong enough that actually pulled the lines under the barrels. We didn't like that at all. One of the other things that we did was we actually had a bunch of fault lines kind of triangulating this barrel like so. I mean, not as obscene as this. They were smaller fault lines, but what we wanted was we index barrels with paint, right? But we wanted this barrel specifically because the post sits right here for the swinger. We didn't want somebody to come set the swinger and accidentally knock this barrel just a little bit, because like half an inch on this barrel makes a huge difference in the presentation of the swinger. So we were very critical to keeping this barrel exactly where it was, because ROs don't see like a teensy change of paint on the ground. It has to be big enough for them to see it, and like we're not checking every barrel every shooter. It's just not a thing. So we were like, yeah, we gotta make sure that this does not move. So that was one of the things we did. Let's talk about some of the leans that we had to do during this match. Where were some good ones? Before we had a lean, like this lean on these poppers was, you know, we kind of had to lean over like that to see it. So that one was more of an advantage to a right-handed shooter, but not a difficult lean, just an annoying lean. Bay 7, Unicorn Sector, or Stage 7, sorry. This lean right here, we'd tuck this target in, we'd put a piece of coroplast on this wall to act as a witness so people don't shoot the wall. We shoot the coroplast and the wall stays alive. This was, you know, almost falling out sort of lean. Not great. Let's talk about Stage 8, World Champion Lean. Name is very appropriate. This was set up very tightly. We actually didn't have marks down here for the match. We set people to start there because nobody was going to start up here anyways. These leans were pretty nasty. If I had to do it again, I would definitely make these leans easier. I definitely got a few complaints about them. Again, they're doable. Here's a picture of me doing this with a PCC. Like, I'm a fat guy. I got a lot of momentum, so like I did it falling, like you'll see it. It was not easy. Same thing here, like this lean actually was a little bit more forgiving. A lot of people chose, like with their handguns, to shoot strong hand and then weak hand or right and left. It just kind of was what it was. Let's talk about Bay 9. So over here on the right, we got stage 11. This tuxedo here, this was actually quite a bit of a harder lean. It was kind of like right here. Well, no, it was a little bit further. So as you're standing in the shooting area, it's hard to see A zone. You gotta kind of lean over to see the A zone. And that was not a necessarily tough lean. We actually didn't have too many wall perf hits on that, which was great, but it wasn't a great lean. Let's talk about stage 10. This lean though, this one you basically had to fall out to shoot 2 shots. It was not a great, it was a difficult lean. And yes, this was a technical match that you had to be able to do these sorts of things, but we had a lot of difficult leans, so I'm not particularly enthused about that. Lesson learned, we're gonna make leans not as crazy. Or if we have a crazy lean, it will be one crazy lean for a match, not, 5 or 6. Let's talk about Bay 10. Same sort of deal. Standing on here, these targets, a lot harder to shoot at the match than it looks. We had coroplast on these walls to protect, to make edge hits and wall hits really obvious. I plopped one through. I'm really not happy about it. I didn't like getting that mic. Our match director, Eric, plopped like 2 through, and there were 3 hits on the target, and they couldn't figure out which came from where because the grease rings all looked kind of the same. So he got a reshoot, and then he plopped one through again, but that one was a mic. That one was a pretty tough one. People got a little bit overzealous moving to the right because this entire thing kind of sat over here. Yeah, whatever, we'll leave it like that. Where you had to stand over here to shoot that one, and then you had to come over to shoot this one. It wasn't as bad as this, like you could stand kind of in the middle, but it still wasn't great. Let's talk about this one. Same sort of deal here. I had coroplast up on these walls. I put banners up to kind of make this like you know what targets are there. You can't see everything more than once. This is not a memory stage. You're literally just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, like, there was nothing complicated about it. I just like putting the banners up in people's faces. It psychs people out a little bit. But this first mini USPSA, a lot harder than it looks here. Same thing. This left one, a lot harder than it looks here. A lot of the people actually started on this one because it was a worse lean and they didn't want to fall out on it, or well, not fall out, but you didn't want to end on this. I popped one into the perf, or into the coroplast, so I got a mic. That's just me sucking. But hard leans, yep. We're gonna try to keep those to a minimum in future. I get it, it's a level 2, but I don't think they added to the match. And that's important. We want them to add to the match, not take away. Last thing of constructive and or negative feedback for myself was this stage. We had like 2 left-handed shooters that were forced to shoot strong hand on the left side, meaning with their right hand, and or they were forced to shoot weak hand, so with their right hand here, and strong hand with their left hand here, and they were put at a significant disadvantage, or a disadvantage enough here. At least they complained about it. I ended up like air gunning it, going, okay, kind of full of shit, but the lesson has been learned. I don't want to do that again. During the review process with Troy or with NROI, when we submitted the stages, we had to take this down to a standards exercise from 2 separate stages, where I'd specifically said left hand only and right hand only, which the rules don't allow. You have to say strong hand or weak hand to be able to mandate it. That was a whole problem. What we could have done is said you could start in either box for string 1 and the other box for string 2. So lefties might have started over here, whereas righties would have started over here. That was just a thing that we hadn't done, and by the time the complaints, the 2 lefties, one of them was more pissed than the other one. That one, by the time that person complained to me about it, we'd already shot all of the staff, meaning if I change the WSB, all the staff has to shoot, and actually, like, I think 1 squad of main match competitors. So we're talking about 30 people, 40 people, reshoot a stage. No, not gonna happen. So I was like, sorry, dude, suck it up. Yep, I'm sorry. Lesson learned, we're not doing that again. Yep. Okay, that's it for what, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Oh, Jesus. Okay, that's it for episode 6. Next episode, I'm going to talk about the survey that was sent out and the feedback that we got.